Trucker Carlson, see what I did there, made a very interesting video explaining how NPR used to be a family-friendly radio, and now it's incredibly progressive. How progressive? Well, we're going to find out together. Why should I be the only one getting the cancer? But secondly, he pointed out how their audience is almost entirely white. Like, Fox News is more diverse than NPR. The only difference, though, which you can add, is that NPR has a lot more women listening to it than Fox News. So I guess they're winning that diversity point. But recently they seem to be struggling with an existential question. You know, when other less normal people like ourselves are struggling with inflation, putting food on the table, you know, the medial stuff, NPR is struggling like, okay, which emoji should you use? Let's listen to this, because this is beautiful. This is absolute poetry. This is art.
I find myself texting a friend or messaging a coworker, and I want to reply with a simple thumbs up emoji. But it's not that simple.
Oh my God. Imagine just how difficult this lady's life must be. I mean, put yourself in a situation where you just find out that your grandmother has passed away, and your mother says, don't worry about it. I'll go pick up the coffin. We'll handle it. We'll pick up the coffin. And you want to give your mom a thumbs up, you know, because you're too emotionally crushed. You don't know what to respond. But there's so many options. Like, which thumbs up do you give to your mother? Which one do you pick? Which one do you select? Oh, the predicament.
That simple, because there's not just one thumbs up option. There's the Simpsons yellow version, and then 5 different skin tones.
Yeah, so this is actually very interesting because it reveals how subversive and just how lying these progressive ideologues were. You see, in the beginning, they started with tolerance. Oh yes, like remember, like you'd read the papers and it was tolerance this, tolerance that. We need to tolerate. And when people were tolerant, then it started about equality. Oh, you need to be equal. Equality this, equality that. Now, I don't know what can be more equal than the internet, or at least how the internet used to be. Because they talk about marginalized voices, but how can you marginalize if you don't even know that the person is a minority? Like on the internet, when everyone was anonymous, every idea standed on its own merit. It's like you just had an idea, and if people agreed with it, then it was a good idea. If people disagreed with it, it was a bad idea. But they didn't like that, right? They didn't like the internet anonymity. So they didn't like the emoji, like the Simpson one, which is like neutral. It doesn't represent anyone, but it represents everyone. So now they push for equity, right? Like equity now means taking stuff from some people and giving it to others. And that is why they decided to create all of these different skin tone options for all types of emojis in order to identify the person behind the emoticon. So for a progressive who views everything through the prism of race, we used to call that being a racist, but then they changed the definition. Well, for them, they can't really analyze an idea unless they know the genetical makeup of the person who said it. Unless they know exactly how their parents fucked, unless they see like the genealogical tree, the pedigree of that human being, they don't know what to make with the idea. So for example, if you have a take on abortion, well, a progressive doesn't know what to do with it. They want to know whether or not you're a man or a woman. If you're a man, you're mansplaining. If you're a woman, well, they're going to be a little bit upset about it, but they're going to tolerate it. So like their reaction to anything that's being said is viewed through the prism of race. And how can they do that on the internet if they don't know your heritage, if they don't know your skin color? Which is why they pressured all of these companies to be more inclusive by having all of these various emoticons of different skin color.
I use the brown one that matches me. I have some friends who use the brown ones too, but they are not brown themselves. This confuses me.
That's Sarai Cole from Berlin, Germany. She's black and originally from California.
Now, I want to point out the quality of the people working at NPR. The woman literally said a couple of seconds ago that she's brown, and now the radio show host is saying that she is black. Why are you changing her skin color around? Why are you playing with the skin color palette? What are you doing? Why can't you just provide the information as is? But this is due to the fact that it doesn't matter from the progressive ideological standpoint, black, brown, unless it's Trudeau, black facing, then it's brown face because it's less worse. That's the only time it matters, by the way. Other than that, it doesn't matter. Like black, brown, whatever. It's not white. Like that is the most important aspect. It's not white and it's not Asian. Like sometimes Asian matters. Because like what they're against is not really necessarily white people. Because their entire audience from NPR is white people. They're not against the fact that people are white. No, they love those people because they're the ones listening to them. If it wasn't for white people, NPR would have no audience. What they are against is capitalism. So they're Marxists, right? Like they believe that capitalism is whiteness. And this is why they also consider that South Koreans are also part of whiteness. Because they are capitalists. I mean, if you read the literature, that's literally what it says. Like you can have a black person that's suffering from whiteness, according to the progressives. Why? Because he's capitalist oriented. He's part of the capitalist mindset. So the world is very simple. There's no shades of gray. It's black and white. There's people that are for capitalism, and those are the people suffering from whiteness, and there's everyone else. So that's why it doesn't really matter if it's black, brown, or whatever. Right? Like that's fine. It's still the same thing.
Not offended when a non-brown friend uses a brown emoji, but would like to understand why. I, too, have long been curious and a bit confused by the race politics of emojis. I posted about it on Twitter this week, where I learned clearly this was not an isolated obsession.
So there's many reasons why a white person can use a brown emoji. I can personally use it to filter out people like you. Like, I don't want to stand next to ideologues. I don't like killjoys. I don't like people that are offended by everything, and I want to filter them out from my life for their own safety, like for their own good. I am like the trust and safety council for you, dear progressive, because I know you're a person that's easily triggered, that's easily upset, and I'm a very edgy and offensive person. So I do you a favor by selecting you through various tricks that I have discovered, and the moment you freak out, I will be like, okay, you know what, you go your way, I will go my way. So that we can separate. We can live in harmony. Equal but separate. How about that? So whenever I use like a brown emoji and I see someone freaking out, you're labeling yourself to me. You're dog whistling to me. It's like, oh, you're one of those people. I see. Oh, okay. I need to keep you safe from me because I have the offensive aura. And if I get close to you, you're going to implode. Like your brain just cannot manage to survive if I stop dropping a couple of jokes. Like, I know slurs that you don't even know exist. Do you understand this? Like, if it wasn't for the YouTube TOS, like, you wouldn't be able to handle my banter. Like, the world, the academia has not prepared you for what is possible to come out of my mouth. Like, the Russians should recruit me. Like, if I were to face a couple of Americans with a couple of words, I would decimate their spirit. It would be like a Pokemon battle. They would be ready to be caught into the Russian Pokeball. Because like their spirits have been completely destroyed, completely crushed. Like you are going to try looking for a safe space, but there won't be any. There won't be because my language is so hazardous. It is, I can't even say it's toxic. It's more like Fukushima. Like my language is so vile that you would not even make it to the safe space. Even if the safe space is right behind the corner. So, in order for me to protect these fragile individuals, I have these filtering ways in order to figure out who they are so they can identify themselves so I can block and mute them. So they don't have to deal with me. Alright? Like, I am so dangerous. I'm like one of those X-Men mutants that has very dangerous powers for the people around them. So, I am trying to keep you safe from myself. But, I know other people who use brown emojis for various reasons. Like, especially when you look at how progressives talk, they're usually, as a woman, as a person of color, as a black man, as a Muslim, it's almost like they're dropping their credentials. It's like, as an academic professor in the field of science, you know, like that's how they present themselves. It's all like honorary titles. And if you don't have the honorary title, you can't participate in the conversation. It's like two university professors talking, and you're like, hey, can I have a say in it? It's like, okay, what are your credentials? I don't have any. Oh, I see, then fuck off. That's how they're treating people, right? So in order to actually be taken serious, well, you get to have to use various tricks. You get to, like a chameleon, you go undercover. Even though it's like the same idea that you're saying, but if they think that you're of a different heritage, like you're part of the aristocracy on Twitter or something, all of a sudden they take you a little bit more serious. So that is why. And it's also interesting to see how they fear. Like, honestly, like some, especially like white liberals, like they're afraid the moment they think you're a person of color. They're like, like please don't report me for being offensive. Have I offended you, sir? Have I offended you? Like, this is funny for some people. It's like, act like a human being. What on earth are you doing? It's like, so, like just either you're offensive to everyone or you're offensive to no one. Like, why do you care so much? But they care probably because of the Twitter Trust and Safety Council, right? So that's what I have to say about it. I'll probably listen to all of this on a live stream because there's a lot more going on. It's like 5 minutes. I mean, I only did 1 minute of this. Imagine if I were to do the whole 5 minutes. It would probably take me an hour, which is what I'm going to do on my live stream right after this. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.